Yo, 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 yo. What's up, YouTube? This your boy Mike signing another one. I'm checking in with y'all today about the whole OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr., $100 million. Now he's broke, or if he's not broke, he's basically saying that the money don't stretch, the money don't last. Everybody's in a whole cahoots behind everything. But I'm gonna tell y'all what you not taking into consideration when he's coming out and talking about this, because everybody from our perspective, that's not millionaires or multimillionaires are thinking like, man, $100 million, that should last a lifetime, and it should. But this is where OBJ is coming from when he's saying, hey, $100 million really ain't $100 million, or it ain't what y'all think it is. Essentially, OBJ came in 2014 on a rookie contract. Now, that rookie contract was fully guaranteed. The contract was worth about $10.5 million, broken down over 4 years with a fifth year option. Anytime you get drafted in the first round, you do have a fifth year option. It's a team option. So if they decide to extend you, then you'll get paid the average of the top five players at your position if you don't negotiate a contract extension. Now, what happened with OBJ was that was a $10.5 million contract, and he did sign the extension in 2018. It was a 6 year deal for $95 million. So he didn't really get paid the full $95 million on that deal. He got paid about 70 of it, which is still a whole lot of money. The way that was broken down was he got a $20 million signing bonus. So the signing bonus was paid out over several months that concluded in February of 2019. So he did get three payments, I think. $10 million on the first payment, $5 million, and then another $5 million with that third payment coming in February of 2019. He also got paid his salary for that season, which was $1.459 million. So at the end of the day, the Giants, before they ended up trading him over to the Cleveland Browns, they paid him on that second deal. No, I'm sorry, not on the second deal. They paid him throughout his first 4 years the $20 million signing bonus and the contract for the 2018 season. They paid him just above $31 million. And then once he got with the Cleveland Browns, he got paid about $38 million for the 2019 season, 2020, and part of the 2021 season. And then he got about $5 million from the Rams when he went over to the Rams. Now the Rams signed him to a $5 million contract, but remember he got hurt in the Super Bowl, so he didn't play at all in the 2022 season. All of those years were voidable. So the contract language gets real. It gets real confusing when we start to bring up these voidable deals. There are things that it looks like on paper you're getting paid a lot of money, but those deals get voided. In a lot of cases, we only really concerned with the guaranteed money. So he really only had like a $1.5 million contract with the Rams for the remainder of the 2021 season. He got paid about $3 million in escalators. So, the Rams went to the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl. So, he had about $3 million that said basically you're going to get $500,000 if we make a playoff game. And then the next playoff game was 750. The next one was 750, and the Super Bowl was $1 million. So it's a total of $3 million for the bonuses. And then he had like a roster bonus that basically said that he'd get $250,000 twice if he's on the roster at certain points, I think in December. So, you're looking at that point north of 70, $75 million that he has earned in his career. But break that down. Let's go back to the first 4 years. You living in New York City, so you got a $10.5 million contract over the course of 4 years. You're in New York City. Think about the cost of living in New York City. Now, I know we going back to the fact of him being a multimillionaire, but $10.5 million, New York does pay state taxes. So in addition to state income taxes, not all of his games were in New York. So in the NFL and the NBA, all professional sports have what you call a jock tax. So even if the state that you live in, so let's say for instance that you live and play in Texas, he played with the Cowboys or the Texans, then he would not be charged state income tax on the games that he played in Texas or in Florida or any states that do not collect state income taxes. But anytime he played in a state that does collect state income taxes, he gets hit with a jock tax, which is basically the state income tax for that particular week of the game, for his income. So, living in New York City, if there's 16 games in a season at that time, we didn't go to 17 games until 2021. 8 of those games, he's being taxed state income tax at a minimum, and then of course the other 8 games, I'd say probably at least half of those, he getting taxed state income tax. So if we look at it from that perspective, $10.5 million, at least half of that is gone in taxes. So now we're looking at 5.25 million. And now also your agency. Your agent is in most cases collecting 3% on the total gross of the contract. So, $10.5 million, he's looking at, just north of $300,000. So all of this adds up. I mean, and like I said, New York City is one of the most expensive places to live. You're a professional football player, so you're going out, you balling. No matter how much we want to say, hey, hey, be frugal with your money. I mean, you are around other pros. You're around Eli Manning. You're around all of these other guys that are making millions and millions of dollars. Y'all going out to dinner. Y'all going out to go have fun at the club. Y'all going out to all these different places with you in your newfound success. Those first several seasons, I mean, he went off. He did his thing. So, of course, he's going out spending some money. So I mean, now, like I said, with taxes involved, your agency involved, you're under $5 million, and that's over the course of 4 years. So let's say $1.25 million per year living in New York City. By the time he went to the Cleveland Browns, he had collected that $20 million in terms of his signing bonus. So his signing bonus on that second deal. So he should have been straight. But once again, chop that $20 million in half, add your agency fees on top of that, and now we're looking at $600,000 in agency fees. It starts to add up. And when he went to Cleveland, he collected, I want to say, like I said, about $38 million in 2008, 2019, 2020, 2021. So at that point, yeah, he should have been straight. He should have been straight. But like he said, nobody's talked to you about financial advisement, wealth management, tax strategy, limiting or reducing your tax liability. I mean, if you're out here spending, you go to another state that also collects state income taxes. I mean, if we break this thing down, because like I said, when he went to the Rams, that's when the money started to go down. I mean, you got $5 million from the second half of the season at the Rams, so that's still not pocket change. But the money started to decrease. 2022, you don't even collect the check because now the contract is structured with no guaranteed money. So I'm living off of money from that I've made prior to 2022. So you go a whole year without no income. And then in 23, he signs a contract with the Baltimore Ravens, which nets him about $16 million. So that was kind of the bounce back season. Maryland also collects state taxes. So I mean, we're looking at south of $8 million liquid, which a lot of money. But then you go into 2024 and you go to the Miami Dolphins. Now we got $1.2 million. Another state. Well, I'm sorry, this is the first state that he's playing in that does not collect state income taxes. But we're talking about $1.2 million versus tens of millions of dollars that he's made over the course of his career. Looking at the big picture, it looks like he probably totaled out somewhere around $92.5 million. He had about $5 million with Nike. Endorsement deals are a little bit different. So if we look at that, you have $5 million endorsement deal that after taxes, let's say 2.5 million, but the agency typically is going to get about 20%. Whoever's handling your marketing is going to get about 20% of the endorsement and marketing deal. So he probably only netted about 1.5 out of that $5 million. So if you look at the 92.5, you're looking at probably about 45 after taxes, about 42 after agency fees, and you still had to live in New York, Cleveland, LA, Baltimore, Miami. Every time you move to a different team, guess what? You got to pack up and move. So there's costs associated with that. Getting in and out of apartments, buying and selling homes. You might take a loss on a house that you bought. And not necessarily a loss, but I mean, there's fees associated with paying your real estate agent, all of those different things. Maybe it's a hot market, maybe it's not. You have, all of those different expenses that come with everything. So you're looking at, when it's all said and done, from 2014 to 2025 now, in which in 2025 he hasn't been playing for a team, so there's no income there. So you're looking at roughly about $4 million a year throughout the time that he played, and then and 2 years with no income, 1 to 2 years with no income. Can the average local joker like myself and probably you guys live off of that income? Absolutely, and thrive off of it. But when we talking about all the different things that he had to endure, and that the cost of living and moving around a lot and just that NFL lifestyle, I can easily see him spending $2 to $3 million a year, leaving him with maybe a million and a half each one of those years. After 10 years, that adds up to maybe $10 to $15 million that he's got left out of that $100 million contract. If that, the way that he's talking, it don't sound like he got that. I think the issue that most people have when we talk about everybody that has their opinion, that's commenting on everything and saying, well, hey, there's no way that he should be broke, is that most people would say, like, I would think that, okay, even if you didn't have any financial literacy after year one, year two, just coming into the league and playing for a few years, there should have, by this point, somebody should have gotten in your ear. You should have had a team, your agency, somebody should have been able to sit you down and say, okay, now we need to start looking at some investments, some things that, even if you don't take that money and turn it into anything that generates active income. I mean, now after several years in the league, if you've made 60, $70 million, and let's say you got 20 of that sitting to the side, I mean, if you put that into certain passive investments, things that mutual funds and things that can grow your money by the money just sitting there anywhere between 4 and 8%. I mean, you should be generating enough income off of the money that you made that is generating interest to just live on that money year after year without having to touch the principal. So I think that's the issue that most people have. Like, how you broke? Did you not take any of these steps to put some money into things that can grow with interest and over time? But like I said, I don't think that. What I'll say is, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that he's saying that, hey, what y'all thought was $100 million ain't nowhere close to that. Don't be surprised if you see me out here not balling like you thought I should be balling, or if you see me kind of living the everyday life that most of you guys are living as everyday citizens. So tell me what y'all think. I know that this topic kind of came out maybe almost a week ago, and so it's probably getting kind of stale. It's not as viral as it was at the time that it came out. But I just want to share some light from an agent perspective, and from the perspective of kind of knowing how a lot of these things work with professionals in sports, as well as other high wealth individuals, in terms of the money that they pay in taxes, the overwhelming expenses that they have that we don't, as everyday people, don't know about, and things like that. So I'm not trying to really justify anything that he said, because I do feel like he definitely should have a lot more money saved away and not even have to have this conversation. But I just wanted to give another perspective on everything. Well, that's all I got for today's video. If you guys have not liked and subscribed, go ahead and do that right now. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. Mike signed another one. I'm bringing you a lot of content with sports, real estate, as well as entertainment. That's all I got for this video. Until next time, we'll see you, man. Peace.